Hello, Mrs. Hoekstra here. I'm on page 42 in our third module, lesson 6, collecting rational number-like terms. You'll see my essential question there. How does the distributive property help with collecting like terms? And you'll also notice that I said that we're going to do this page 42 in class. So jump over to page 43 if you would. And let's take a look at what we've got going on here. We're going to rewrite this in standard form by collecting like terms. Before I do that, I want you to just look at what we are actually adding. You will notice that every term, remember terms are separated by an addition or subtraction, every term has an N. So these are all like, all like terms. Okay, they're all like terms. They all have that letter N in it. Also, that tells me then when I'm done, I should have only one term, only one term when finished. Okay, when I get done, I should have one thing left with the letter N next to it. Okay, because they're all alike. Also, I noticed that there's lots of fractions, and I know you guys love them, but you got to get over it. So I'm going to need a common denominator. Okay, so if I look at 3, 4, 6, 3, 4, 6 would give me a common denominator of 12, but now I got this 9 in there, which turns it to a common denominator of 36. So I'm just going to do a little scratch work up at the top. 2/3, change it to 36. 3 goes into 36 12 times, so 12 times 2 is 24. So that becomes 24 over 36n. I'm going to smatto, so plus negative, now what is 3/4? 4 goes into 36 9 times. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus, now how many times does 1/6, right, become 36? 6 goes into 36 6 times, so 1 times 6 is 6, so 6/36n plus, and I'm going to leave my 2, and I'm going to change the 2/9. Okay, I'm going to change 2/9. How many times does 9 go into 36? 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 8/36n. All right, and now pretty much I'm just going to go straight across and add. Okay, I'm going to add. I can do that because they all have a common denominator. So if I add the first two, I'll notice that 27 is bigger than 24, so I know my answer is going to be negative. So I'm going to have negative 3 over 36n, and then I've still got the plus 6 over 36n plus 2 and 8 over 36n. Okay, I'm going to add my next two. All right, let's add the next two. So if I add those, again, the signs are different. 6 is bigger, so I'm going to subtract and have the sign of the bigger number. So in this case, it's going to be 3 over 36n, and then plus 2 and 8 over 36n. And now I can just add those. And so when I add that, the 2 stays as is. And then I'm just going to add the 8 and the 3. 8 plus 3 is 11 over 36n. Final answer. Boom. The fractions are not as bad as you think. Okay, so let's try exercise 1A. And you will notice I have got several terms here. I have got 1, 2, 3 of them have the letter G, and 2 of them do not. So I will, because I have 3 that have a G and 2 that do not, I'm going to end up with 2 terms when I'm done. I also need to discuss what is going to be my common denominator. Okay, common denominator, 5, 6, 10. 5, 6, and 10. 5 and 6 would be 30. 10 goes into 30, so I think 30 would make a great common denominator. All right, so I'm going to do my little scratch work off to the side. How many times does 5 go into 30? Goes in there 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. I might as well just stay down here. And I've got 1/6. And 6 goes into 35 times. 5 times 1 is 5. 3/10. 10 goes into 30 3 times, so 3 times 3 is 9. And then I've got my 4/5. And again, 5 goes into 30 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. So I've got all of those written out now. Let's put them all together, shall we? All right, here we go. So 2/5 G became 12/30 G minus 1/6 became 5/30, no G on that one, minus a G. Well, that's just a 1G, right? And I'm going to rewrite my 1G as 30 over 30, because 30 divided by 30 is 1. So I'm just going to write it as 1G like that, plus, and then I rewrote my 3/10. My 3/10 became 9/30, and it has a G. And then minus 4/5, and my 4/5 became 24/30. All right, let's put all the G's together, and let's put all the constants, regular old everyday numbers together. All right, so I'm going to have 12/30 G. Ooh, I see something I want to fix. I want to change this to plus negative. I'm going to smatto that, and I'm going to change that to plus negative and make that a smatto, and I'm going to make this last one a smatto. I should have done that in the first place. I apologize, so we're going to fix all that. All right, I'm going to add negative 30 over 30G, and then we're going to add 9/30 G. All of the G's are together, right? Put all the G's together. And then we're going to add negative 5/30 plus negative 24/30. All right, let's put all the G's together, right? Let's add those up, just add straight across. So 12 over 30 and negative 30 over 30, this is bigger. So I'm going to have that one win. So 30 minus 12 is what? Negative 18 over 30 G plus 9/30 G. Okay. And then I still, well, you know what? I could just add these. What's negative 5 plus negative 24 going to give me? It's going to give me negative 29 over 30. Almost 1. Okay, now I'm going to add for the last step. Add those two together. Well, 18 is bigger, so I'll circle the 18. 18 is bigger. Negative 18, so 18 minus 9 is negative 9. Negative 9/30 G plus negative 29/30. We could reduce these, but we're not going to. We're just going to leave them as is, call it good. I'm not going to bother with the reduction of it. I would like you guys to hit pause and try letter B. I know they're tricky. I know they're intimidating, but give it a shot, you guys. You are better at math than you realize. Give it a shot. Okay, well, I'm guessing some of you guys may have tried to find a common denominator across all of that. I did not, and I know you're probably a little frustrated that I didn't. Because I realized the I's didn't have to mix with the H's, so I didn't get a common denominator. If you did, though, ooh, what would that have been? A good size number. Take a look at what I did. If you got a common denominator for all of it, that's fine. I did not. All right, but I'm going to move on. Don't sweat this one, you guys, okay? Let's move on. All right, let's take a look. At a store, a shirt was marked down in price by $10. A pair of pants doubled in price. Following these changes, the price of every item in the store was then cut in half. Write two different expressions that represent the new cost of the items using S for the cost of each shirt and P for the cost of a pair of pants, and explain the different information in each one shows. All right, so let's suppose we're going to get the shirt, right? It says that all of the shirts were marked down $10, right? So they all were reduced $10. But then what did the store do? The store put everything half price, right? So that's saying the cost of each shirt is now half the original minus the 10. Okay, that's what that says. Let's see. Then from there we've got, we could distribute that, right? Let's distribute that. So we could do half S minus 1/2 times 10, which we know is 1/2 S minus 5, right? So that would mean the cost of the shirt was cut in half and we subtract $5 from the total. Okay. We could do the pants as well, and it says the pants was doubled, right? So we have the price of the pant, and we're going to double that, which means multiply it by 2. But then what did the store do? They cut it in half, right? Well, if I just take half of 2p, I get just p, and it's just back to the original price. Don't know why they would do all that, but that's what they did. All right, let's go to page 45. All right, page 45. It says, write 2 different expressions that represent the total cost of the shirts if tax was 1/10 of the original price. All right, so I'm going to go back to the problem. I'm going to take half of the shirt minus 10, right? There's my equation. And I'm going to add, because tax, right? You're going to add tax, and it's 1/10 the price of the original price of the shirt. Okay? I'm going to now distribute my 1/2 like I did on the other side, right? And it became 1/2 s minus 5. I just got that from the other side of the page, plus 1/10, whoops, plus 1/10 s. I don't like using s's and 5s. They look alike. Okay, that being said, I'm going to combine my s's. 1/2 s plus 1/10 s minus 5. Okay, well, I need a common denominator. Common denominator would be 10, so this becomes 5/10 s plus 1/10 s minus 5. Okay, well, what's 5/10 plus 1/10? That's right, it is 6/10 s minus 5. And that would be the price. We could reduce this to 3/5. That would be fine as well. All right, let's take a look at example 3. Right, we're going to rewrite this one. Oof, here we go. 5 1/3 minus 3 1/3 times 1/2 x minus 1/4. Ooh, wow. I don't know. Should we do this one? Let's give it a shot. Let's see where we go with this. First thing, I'm going to smatto. I just got to rewrite this, and I'm going to rewrite them as impropers. So this becomes 16/3 plus what? -10/3 times 1/2 x plus 1/4. -1/4, excuse me, plus -1/4. I'm going to write that a little neater. Plus -1/4. Smatto that and rewrite those as improper. All right, I am going to distribute this here. The good news is when you multiply fractions, you just multiply. It's really easy. So 16/3 plus, I'm going to write this out a little slow. I'm going to write out everything. Some of you guys are struggling with that. You're just jumping into giving me answers, and you can't do that anymore. Okay, I'm going to write out everything so you can follow along with where I'm getting my answers. So 16/3 plus, what's -10 times 1? -10. 3 times 2 is 6, x, plus what's -1, or excuse me, -10 times -1 is +10, and 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, almost done. I can put the first term and the last term together because I could get them to have a common denominator. They don't have an x or a variable with it, so I could do that. Could I reduce those? Yeah, I probably could. You know what? I think I'm just going to change the bottom. I'm going to take 16 and I'm going to multiply this by 4 over 4 to make it have a common denominator of 12. Let's see here, 16 times 4, that's 4. Bring up the 2, that'd be what, 64 over 12 plus 10/12 plus -10 over 6x. Okay, I'm going to add these two. I know it's getting a little cramped in there. And I get 74 over 12 plus -10 over 6x. And you're like, oh, that's a big old mess. And that, could we reduce it? Yes, we can. It does reduce. You could cut everything in half. If you cut everything in half, you get 37 over 6 plus negative 5 over 3x. Do not change them to change the impropers into mixed numbers, because eventually when we work with our algebra, we kind of want to keep it this way. All right. All right. We're going to do exercise 3A. All right. I'm going to do both of these with you guys. I'm not going to have you pause because I'm sure you guys are struggling with these. Okay, so let's give this one here a try. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to smatto this first problem. So I'm going to make this plus negative 1/2. And then I'm going to leave the 1/2 plus y as it is. Just change that to plus negative 1/2. All right, distributive property says I'm going to distribute across here. So my 6 1/3, the negative 6 1/3 stays. Negative 1/2 times 1/2 plus negative 1/2 times y. Okay, the negative 6 1/3 is going to stay. Not going to do anything to that. Plus negative 1/2 times a positive 1/2. So just multiply across. 1 times 1, I'm going to have negative 1, and 2 times 2 is 4. Plus, this becomes negative 1/2 y. Okay, no big deal with that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine, right? I'm going to add these two because I can put those two together. I'm going to get a common denominator. My common denominator is going to be 12. Right? Common denominator is going to be 12. So this is going to be negative 6, excuse me. And let's see here, 1/3 becomes 4/12. Negative 6 4/12 plus, and then my 1/4, negative 1/4, excuse me, is going to become what? Negative 3/12. Okay. And then don't worry about that negative 1/2 y because it's got its own thing going on. I don't have to worry about it because it's got a y. But I do have to worry about these two. So I'm just going to deal with the fractions, right? 4/12 is bigger than 3/12, so that becomes negative 6 1/12 plus negative 1/2 y. Okay, looks really intimidating. It's not. It's all going to be okay. It all works out. Make sure I have that done right. Do I have that right, guys? That's negative. Oh, it's negative. Whoops. That's a negative 4th. Oops. Negative 4/12. Let's go back and fix that. That's a negative 4/12. So that becomes negative 7/12. Whoops. I'm going to fix this. This is negative 6 7/12. There we go. Now that's right. Oh, I feel better. All right, what I want you to do, go to page 46. I want you to hit pause, and I want you guys to do the problem at the top of page 46 here. Or excuse me, yeah, page 46. Hit pause. All right, so here's my work for this one. I did change my negative 1 1/3 to negative 4/3 so that it would be easier to work with. I smattoed and then I distributed, and I end up with 2/9 plus 1/12 f. Okay. Take a look at it, see how you did. All righty. All right. I am actually going to skip example 4. Not a fan of it, but I am going to go all the way across to page 47, and I'm going to do exercise 4 instead. All right. So there's a couple different ways we can do this one. I like to get a common denominator, as you guys know. So to get a common denominator with 3, 9, and 6, I'm going to get a common denominator of 18, right? Because 18 can be divided by 3, 9, and 6. All right. I think what I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to actually smatto 2h plus, or excuse me, 2h over 3 plus negative h over 9 plus h plus negative 4 over 6. Okay, just turn everything over like that. All right, I need to get a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 6. So this becomes 12h over 18. Plus, I'm going to multiply the next one both by 2 to get that to be an 18 in the bottom. So negative 2h. Well, negative 2h plus, I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 3. The entire thing gets multiplied by 3. So 3 times h plus negative 4 all over 18. Well, I can't have that 3 times the whole quantity, everything inside that parenthesis. So I'm going to rewrite this as 12h over 18 plus negative 2h over 18 plus, now I'm going to distribute, 3h plus negative 12 all over 18. Okay? Well, if you notice, I have 3 h's and a single number. So I'm going to end up with probably 2 terms here. Okay? So I am going to put all of my h's together. So I'll have 12h plus negative 2h plus 3h all over 18. And then, oh, I've run out of room, negative 12 over 18. Sorry, I ran out of room there. So what do I get? 12 plus negative 2 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13h over 18 plus negative 12 over 18. All right, I can have that as my final answer. We could reduce it. If you want to, you can. Feel free. If we reduced it, it would become 13h over 18 plus what goes into both 12 and 18? 6. 6 goes into 12, so that would be negative 2 and 3. Okay? Either one of those. Okay? This one makes me happier, but the other one is fine as well. If you take a look on page 47 here, it gives you multiple ways to solve the one problem here. I will do this in class. We're going to talk it over and kind of figure out what's going on there. All right, let's go to page 48. We're almost done. All right, page 48, we need to get a common denominator in this problem, right? We got to get a common denominator in this problem. I also notice I've got to distribute some numbers in the beginning. So I'm actually going to distribute and SMATO all at one time here. So 2x plus negative 11 all over 4 plus, and I'm going to put a negative out here. Oof, now this is going to become 3, and this is x plus negative 2 all over 10. All right, let's see. Let's distribute, like I said I was going to. So I've got the 2x plus a negative 11 over here, all over 4, plus negative 3x plus 6, because negative 3 times negative 2 gives me a positive 6, all over 10. So now let's get a common denominator. Look at the 4, look at the 10. I could make it be 40, but I know there's a smaller one. Common denominator, what do you think it's going to be? 20. So I'm going to multiply everything, both the top and the bottom, by 5. And I'm going to multiply the second one, everything, both the top and the bottom, by 2. All right. So in other words, I'm going to distribute 5 to everything up here. 5 times 2x is 10x, plus 5 times negative 11 is negative 55, all over 20, plus, now I'm going to distribute the 2. 2 times negative 3x is negative 6x, plus 2 times 6 is 12, all over 20. All right, do I have things I can combine? I certainly do. So now that I've got a common denominator, I've got 10x plus negative 6x plus negative 55 plus 12, all over 20. All right, let's put the x's together because they are like terms. They have different signs. 10 is bigger. So 10 minus 6 is 4. It's positive, so we have 4x plus, now let's combine our constants. The signs are different, so again, I'm going to subtract 55 minus 12. 55 minus 12 is 43. The sign is going to be negative. And it's all over 20. We can leave it like that, or we can split it into 4x over 20 plus negative 43 over 20, which then would allow me to reduce this first one into 1x over 5 plus negative 43 over 20. Okay, all of them are equivalent. They're all equal to each other. Of course, I like the last one the best. Okay, that one makes me the happiest. I know this lesson was pretty confusing, slightly long, but hopefully you guys can understand it. There are problems like this on the test, so we need to make sure you get it. I will see you all in class.